What if the greatest hero of Greek mythology wasn't a hero at all? What if Hercules, the man celebrated for his strength, courage, and incredible labors, was actually closer to a cold-blooded killer than the savior we imagine? Before you roll your eyes, hear me out, because once you know the real stories, you may never look at Hercules the same way again. Stick around till the end. And if you love uncovering the dark truths behind myths, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss the next shocking story. Today, we're diving into the darker side of Hercules, his violence, his rage, and the question, was he truly a hero, or just a man consumed by blood and glory? Let's start with what most of us already know. Hercules, the strongest man alive, son of Zeus, the half-god who pulled off impossible feats, from slaying the Nemean lion to capturing the golden hind. We think of these tales as the ultimate triumphs of good over evil. He's built up in pop culture as the perfect superhero of the ancient world. But here's the problem. When you take off the shiny armor of legend, you find someone who killed more people than he saved. And the blood wasn't always on monsters. Sometimes it was his family. Yes, his wife, his children, his friends. Hercules murdered them with his own hands. But how does a story that dark become the tale of a great hero? Let's rewind. Hercules' life didn't start with glory. It started with revenge. His stepmother Hera hated him because he was proof of Zeus's cheating. Instead of punishing Zeus, Hera went after the child. From the crib, Hercules was hunted, poisoned, thrown into madness. His entire existence was one long game of Hera trying to destroy him. But here comes the turning point. In one of Hera's cruelest acts, she drove Hercules insane. In his madness, he slaughtered his wife Megara and their children. Think about that for a second. Not an enemy, not a threatening warrior, his wife and his own kids. While he was in a frenzy, yes, but still, those deaths were at his hands. And the Greeks knew this. They didn't erase it. Instead, they turned it into the reason for his penance, the famous 12 labors. Now here's what's wild. The labors that we often tell as great heroics were really punishments. He wasn't out saving the world. He was trying to clean his conscience, to pay for blood he spilled. But did he really redeem himself? Let's walk through a few of these labors and look at the man behind them. The Nemean lion. Hercules strangled it to death because its skin was unbreakable. That sounds heroic on paper, but here's what most people skip over. The lion was simply an animal living in its cave, minding its own business. Hercules hunted it down, killed it, and wore its skin. Heroic or psychopathic? Then the Hydra, a monster with many heads. Sure, it terrorized swamps and killed anyone who came too close. But Hercules didn't fight fair. He had his nephew help him, burning the necks each time a head grew back. And when he realized the last head was immortal, he just buried it under a rock. Cowardly? Smart? Depends how you look at it. But no matter what, the Hydra wasn't just some beast. It was Hera's creature, placed there to slow him down. This wasn't saving the people. This was part of his survival grind. And Hercules kept going, labor after labor, sometimes killing, sometimes capturing. The Carinean hind, basically a sacred deer. He didn't even slay it. He hunted it for a year until he caught it. Heroic patience maybe, but again, why are we calling this moral greatness? This was punishment. Nothing more. But Hercules' violence didn't stop with monsters. time after time, stories show him brutally killing humans. He killed his music teacher in a rage. He killed King Eurytus' son. He fought wars where entire villages, not enemies, were slaughtered. His weapon wasn't just a bow or a club. It was raw, uncontrolled rage. And yet, despite this pattern of destruction, he was celebrated. He was glorified. He was practically worshipped. Why? Because ancient Greece didn't see hero the way we do today. When we think hero, we think Superman or someone noble. But in ancient Greece, a hero was someone extraordinary, someone above ordinary humans, even if they were dangerous. Hercules wasn't supposed to be perfect. He was supposed to be powerful, terrifying, larger than life. To them, his flaws made him even greater. He killed his family. That proved the gods could break even the strongest man. His insane strength and rage, that made him divine. Even his suffering was part of his myth, because Greeks believed greatness came through pain, punishment, and conquest. But here's the twist. You could say Hercules wasn't a hero at all, but a victim of Zeus's infidelity, a victim of Hera's vengeance, a pawn shoved into madness again and again by forces bigger than him. So when he killed, was that really his choice? Or was he manipulated into being the god's puppet of destruction? Imagine living like that, knowing at any second you could be driven into madness, turned into a murderer by someone else's hatred. Could you really keep control? Could you really stay good? Or would you break again and again? What's even more haunting, Hercules never found peace. His end wasn't a glorious retirement. His own wife, tricked into giving him a poisoned cloak, doomed him. His body burned alive in agony. His human side died in flames. Only his godly side survived, ascending to Olympus. And the Greeks celebrated that as the final triumph. But seen another way, isn't that just the story of a man destroyed by a cycle of violence he never escaped? So back to the question, hero or ruthless killer? Maybe he was both. Maybe he was a savior in some moments and a monster in others. But one thing is clear, the Hercules of Greek myth was far more complex, more brutal, and more tragic than the children's cartoons or movies ever dare to show. And maybe, just maybe, that was the entire point. The Greeks didn't want a happy, polished superhero. They wanted a mirror of humanity itself. Strength, rage, love, madness, glory, and tragedy all in one figure. Hercules wasn't meant to be perfect. He was meant to be unforgettable. So was Hercules a true hero, or just history's most celebrated killer? That's for you to decide. Don't miss the next video. It's about another so-called hero whose story may shock you even more.